It's Sydney versus Port Adelaide at the SCG, and the centre bounce, not a perfect one. Lobe able to get the knockdown. Boak, pass fit to play this week, was caught in the crush. Franklin down it up. Bird, you can see the haste in which he got the ball into the 50. Not clean. Carlisle, Goods got a fingernail to it. Jonas, Broadbent, who's such a key player for them in defence on the way out. Got it out to the wing. McVeigh, Boak to counter that. Here's Cunningham, going to be crushed again by Broadbent. Close to the line, Cunningham with his speed. They've started Jetta in the forward 50 as well, so put some pace in that forward line.
There'll be some great midfield matchups. We know there's great speed there, there's great strength inside. Ebert and Kennedy also look to be going head to head.
Well, Derrick's, who's got the job again as being the lone ruckman. Pike was a late withdrawal after it looked like he was going to come back into the team. So a big responsibility. Monfrey's also back for Port Adelaide.
And Kingy, Jack Holmes looks like he's got the job on Buddy Franklin.
Well, he's a runner. He's had a fantastic season. He's a good clamping type defender who doesn't engage too much in the offensive flow on the way out. He just gets the job done.
Lobe and Derrick's again. Now Goods has started to move off the ball. There he is looking for it. He's got it, Adam Goods. Out to Hannanbury. Next in the line, Laidler. To the Franklin direction. Back with it, Kennedy. Broadbent, hands full here, Port Adelaide's defence. McVeigh out to Jack. One after another, after another. Oh, the Swans start with sparkle, and it's Kieran Jack. First goal took 2 minutes, and it came from Kieran Jack in game number 150. So back we go again. Lobe and Derrick's. He got to the ball as quick as he could, trying to protect the area. Derrick's come over the top. Broadbent up into the middle of the ground. We saw Monfries and Melcheski there. They're going to be on each other. Here's McVeigh. Down to Franklin, who's got two to deal with. And Jonas lending a much-needed hand. Wasn't the perfect handball over to Homps, but he's able to use his left foot and find Carlisle.
Interesting matchups down back. You've got Homshon, Franklin, Carlisle picking up Reed, and Trengove on Goods. I reckon Adam Goods will try and lose him in traffic.
This is a terrible start for Port Adelaide, and that's got worse.
Oh, tell me he touched it.
Oh, it's clean through the legs just about. Oh, my goodness.
And nutmeg.
Well, rule number one in this game is you get your body behind the footy. And look, it might have been a stiff bounce, but he had to get something on it. It's a poor turnover from Carlisle. Really good smother and recovered the ball, McVeigh. But that had to be mopped up by Trengove.
Oh,
just didn't get anything behind the footy. He had to be better than that.
I just want to talk about this, Hutto. You can see the Sydney Swans forwards pushing right up to the back of the line of centre-half forward there. They're trying to make the ground smaller. They're trying to take Port Adelaide's run away from them. At the other end, you've got Port Adelaide doing the reverse, trying to make the ground bigger, maximise their run.
Port can't get their hands on the footy in any meaningful way yet. Disposals 14-6 in favour of the Swans. 3 inside 50s to 0 and 12-0 on the scoreboard.
Interesting at the other end, Hamish Hartless, the forward playing deep for Port. Rampy's his opponent.
Ebert squeezed in, couldn't get a decent handball out of there. Kennedy. This is a mighty challenge for Port Adelaide to answer so early. And again, it's Sydney with the escape. Bird, Franklin. Again, 2-on-1.
And that's the disadvantage of not having Tippett in this lineup. You're going to get defenders dropping off to double team Franklin. And so the Sydney players have to be more aware than ever of when they kick to Franklin, don't kick to a 1-on-2.
But they're being challenged here in contested football. They were always going to be challenged at the Swans' strengths. 8-2 at the moment. A fast start by the Swans, in tight and tough.
That was better from Trengove against Goods, but Jack hooks it forward. You heard the call of the umpire, Jonas. I don't think the players did. He knew, so he kept on moving and was able to escape the clutches of the Swans. Back to the wing. They can't get past here, so it's all hands on deck for Port needed. But the Swans have got the jump again. Jack sets them up to come. Reed, a real opportunity. Didn't get it in the air, but did get it on the ground. Over to Kennedy, and now Goods helplessly watches as it sails over the line and out of bounds.
Frustrated Adam Goods because he had just ducked out the back and he was in the square all on his own. Mentioned Trengove's going to have to pay a lot of attention to his craft because Goods won't just play as a normal forward. He'll play as a midfield forward, and he'll take him through traffic.
Alarm bells here. This is alarm bells for Port Adelaide. They've lost momentum now. We spoke about them wanting to play fast football. And I just think right now that would be a disaster because the Swans are denying every exit at this point.
Well, I was just going to ask you whether he can apply that tactic, Dave. You don't think so?
I think he will. He'll live and die by the same sword, Ken. It's admirable, but the Swans are ready for them.
6-0, the inside 50s.
Lobie brings it to everyone's feet. Robbie Gray can't get into the thick of it yet. Pittard had a crack. Lobie, who provides a lot for them with follow-up work. It looks like, well, could have been high contact on Hartlett. Not so, said the umpire. The skipper Boak, and Hartlett again. Forced a handball, though. Couldn't use his natural long kicking. He might get a chance here. No, again by hand. So it's hard won. It's hard fought for Port to get this far. Cassisi off the left, just over Wingard's head. Back with it, Bird. Not as good as he would have liked. Mitchell to inject some pace, perhaps. Digs it out for Ebert. Tried to make do with a pretty limited opportunity, and Richards, to the delight of the Sydney crowd, clears it out to the wing.
He comes straight back. Got to hit a target.
And it's Robbie Gray. He's having a stellar season. High ball, West off to the square, aimless ball, easy mark.
That's exactly what Sydney done a couple of times down the other end. They kicked to the loose on Franklin, no good. Got to look for the shorter target.
The alarm, the emergency alarm has been pulled, and you can see here that Westhoff's gone down back. He's the one who goes behind the ball to try and settle this team down. Let's see if it works.
Break glass in emergency?
Yeah. Unfortunately, he was the one then that just rashly kicked it long forward to Ted Richards, who was sitting on his own.
And Kingy, we're already seeing your theory on the inside-outside versus each other. I mean, contested ball 13-5 right now in favour of Sydney. They are absolutely brilliant. As soon as the ball does hit the ground, you can notice the numbers that Sydney are getting around that ball to handball it out quickly, then get their running game going.
Good effort from Lobie. He's really having a crack. They obviously need all their guns to fire. There's John Longmire watching on. He'd be delighted by the start. 6 inside 50s to 2, so at least Port have now been able to get it into their forward half. Can they lock it away there and put some pressure on the Swans? Ebert. Schultz surrounded by Swans, just as Buddy's got the same issue at the other end. Rampy, a greasy ball, so not going to be that easy to handle. Well done by Grundy. Bundles it up, heads for Derricks. Again, Lobie was a big presence. Here's Hanbury. Corns is tagging him this afternoon. Bird and Boak. Some wonderful matchups, as we suggested. And here's the man sweeping in, Westhoff.
Oh.
Gee, that needed to hit the target or they were in trouble. But now they get the opportunity to switch into space.
Broadbent takes it out wide for Pittard. Impey's chart. Oh,
that's a bad fumble.
Just a little fumble, enough to open the door for Jetta. And sometimes that's all they need, the Swans. A little opening and they are away. McVeigh to Goods. Laidler didn't want it, even though he'd made position, and Goods was left a little bit confused and perplexed. But he didn't panic. Smith to the wing, opening up Lloyd. Well done, Cassisi, not to give away the free, but Buddy comes on. Reinforcement for the Swans. Had a look ahead, he had nowhere to go, so that's why he didn't blast it. And they're going to get away now with a free kick and some advantage.
He didn't want to take it, Nick Smith. He was hoping to give it back.
Well, the players have decided.
It's been play on. They made that decision themselves, and the players, and the Port Adelaide players allowed them to do it.
It's been years since we've allowed the players to make their own decisions.
They did.
1886, I think, was the last time.
There was no whistle blown, and they just stopped and said, back to you, Brandon Jack, you take the kick, and the bloke's still on the mark.
We want to beat you on your merits.
Oh, wow, I've never seen that before.
Boundary throw in. Packed SCG, not quite at capacity. There was hopes of 40,000, might not quite be there, but still it's a terrific crowd. And they would be delighted with what they're seeing. They're very much threatening here, the home team. Monfries to Mitchell, almost hurled that out in front of himself to gain control, which he's done now.
They've just got to run. There's no one to kick to.
Wine's got it back to Mitchell. Again, he left it behind. Taking no chances. Runs away now.
Oh, she's kicking the numbers.
Schultz got a real battle against Richards and fought the fight very gamely. Needs support, needs it desperately. Umpire's ruling.
That is tough on Jay Schultz. He's 1 against 2. He brought the ball to ground. He recovered. Then he got pinged. But Port Adelaide, we know they can run, but the pressure of Sydney is forcing them at times to kick long when they don't want to. So that's a win for Sydney thus far.
Nick Smith brings it back across the ground a little bit. There's the skills of not just the old, but the young as well. As Lloyd moved it on, and then Rampy kicks it in the Franklin direction. And he's earned himself a free.
Wow.
Holding from the front.
Yeah.
Jack Holmes looks disappointed. We'll have a look at this one on the replay. We get the benefit of that. The umpire signalled a handful of jumper.
You never see this paid, Jace. I mean, I think this happens 40 times a game, and this is never paid.
Although if he's got a handful of jumper, good to see the umpire pay it. He's got a handful of his jumper
they both have.
underneath the throat. I've got no problem paying that.
Yeah, but they've both got a handful of jumper.
I'm not sure. Always look after the forward, Kingy.
Buddy Franklin, 8 games at the SCG, now total 23 goals. Not able to bring that one back as he would have liked. So the Swans, for all their dominance, lead by 13 points. Is that true reward for their superiority so far?
Perhaps not, but they'll be happy to play this close style game if they can. I just love the way they're forcing Port Adelaide to use the footy before they want it.
Now, Impey starting away, and again, he's got nothing ahead. This is going to be interesting. What's he going to do? He waits until Schultz gives him something, but again, it was very low percentage stuff. If it gets out of bounds, I think they'd give it a tick.
That's a good result. Well, that's out of bounds off the foot of Schultz now. He's been really unlucky, Jay Schultz, twice.
But that's the speed that Port want to play at.
Yep.
Their opinion is that something will come.
But you know what?
Running abilities of this midfield, they'll get forward, they'll push forward. Options will avail themselves.
And it would have been a one-on-one, except Ted Richards read it quicker than Jay Schultz, and he led out into the space, and there was nowhere for the kick to go because it needed to be 80 metres to get over the top to Schultz.
You're spot on about the pace down here, King. I mean, they're ringing in the changes both sides at the moment. They've made a dozen changes already. We're only 10 minutes into the game.
Again, an adventurous kick on the way out. Found Jack did Smith, and here's Franklin. There's movement inside the forward 50. Oh, it's gone way over Cunningham's head, way over everybody's head except Don Cassisi.
I'm not happy with that.
No idea why you would spoil there, King.
He's getting a lot of feedback from his teammates. You had Kennedy, who was bursting into space, McVeigh, who was bursting to the goal square by himself. Franklin had one focus, and that was to get the goal for himself.
Don Cassisi could have taken a simple chest mark, but decided to go with a two-fisted punch through. That's a sign of the pressure they're under.
Out to half-back, Homsch. Not paid the mark. Malcheski trying to feed it through Jonas. Homsch again. Look at them come from every angle. Bird. Wines. Take it in turns to draw the heat.
This is Sydney's game.
Yeah.
This is exactly what they love. You can just see it already, and Mearns touched on it. Contested possession, a gap of 14 in this game already. This is Sydney at their brutal best.
What they're also doing, Kingy, is they're showing everyone the recipe for how to take Port Adelaide out of the comfort zone, and that's intense pressure, not allowing Port to run and carry and use what they want, making them make quick decisions. Terrific pressure from the Swans.
Well, all the players are between the 50s at the moment. The Swans are ringing that 50 arc. You can see away to the right there with the ball slightly in Port Adelaide's attacking area. It's not going to be easy to get it closer for Port. Here's Jonas. They're working hard at the coalface. Gray scrapped it. Again, probably would be happy with out of bounds. Schultz clearly was.
Just want to talk about the tactic of what Sydney are doing. They're bringing their numbers right up the field. They're vacating their forward 50 and compressing the ground. So it's actually making it harder for Port to get their running game going, where Sydney are comfortable in traffic. Their handball game's working perfectly.
I guess, Kingy, when they break, as Wines gets it into the 50 and has another crack, is he going to have any more success? Monfries over the top was Shaw. He was able to get it to Cunningham, and again they handball their way in those confined spaces. Malcheski and now Jack.
1-on-2.
And you see a fair bit of this afternoon, you suspect. Trengove over the top. Flip back up with assistance from Jonas. Trengove, they're on the move again. Port, more positive intent. Long, again to a crowded 50. Malcheski not quite. Grundy tried to feed it through to Smith. A little opening for Port in their forward 50. Wines quickly shut down though. And now Franklin's away. And he got the handball away when it mattered. McVeigh, Jenner's going.
Put it out in front.
Put it out and see what he can do. And we know what he can do when he gets the footy. He has to kick quickly. That not a big problem, but unfortunately for him, just a miss. And the Swans go to 2-3-15, and Port still yet to score at the 15-minute mark.
Nothing wrong with the leg speed of Jarman Impey either.
It was a bad kick. The kick should have gone towards the goals, draw it into a normal kick, not across the body, which I know you hate, Jase.
Matty White, been quiet so far, had an outstanding season. That was his first disposal of the game. It's going to be interesting to see how he goes today. And again, Gray with a little tap back. Parker and Cassisi. Gray, it's another opportunity. Jack, along for the ride was Trengo. Now it's Grundy. Oh, Gray tackled him without the footy. Laidler Fed it through to Brandon Jack.
Well done.
Boak. Winds. Oh, he threw that out.
Yeah. That was brought about by being under pressure when they shouldn't have been. It just needed sure hands from Alapati Carlisle, but he was in a different situation for him, up the ground, in traffic, not deep in defence, didn't handle the ball cleanly.
Parker takes the mark. Measures off the next one, and it's Brandon Jack. He's had a bit of the footy coming back into the team this week. Goes for Franklin. This time it's a one-on-one with Broadbent, who did well. Homps, his regular opponent, comes in from behind, and it's out of bounds.
Just want to ask Cameron Mooney at ground level the thoughts on the Port Adelaide forward line. With Sydney now having that loose man back, they're compressing the field. Seems to be really hampering Jay Schultz's game.
Well, I think at the minute too, Kingy, this is where I think they really struggle when Westhoff has to go behind the ball. They need a bigger key forward down there to just... Look, we're seeing a lot of pressure today from Sydney. So what are we seeing going in the forward line? We're seeing a few high kicks and a couple of bombs. Schultz isn't that person to really, stand under those balls and bring them to ground. To me, they're still short a big-bodied key forward that can present, that can bring the ball to ground and make sure the Crummers get involved into the game.
Tringo played forward last week. Remembering, obviously, it's a totally different game against St Kilda. That is an option. A bit of blood there too. And the big fella Tringo brings it down, and here's Impey attracting a crowd very quickly. Gray finds a way up by hand. Carlisle, it's all short stuff, and the umpire said it was too short to be paid, but at least they've been able to spread and move the ball across the ground. Jonas looked for options out on the wing, but decided Pittard was the best of them all. And then to Ebert again, who hooks it in nicely. Mitchell charged one way, but he's going to go longer to full forward. Schultz, a genuine one-on-one. That's a better option. He's got a free
kick, yeah. And you know what? You're right, Hutto. If you're going to kick long, it has to be to a one-on-one. And the crowd's not happy, but Tedridge has put both arms around Jay Schultz and virtually tackled him, because that's the pressure the defenders face when they're not in the correct position and there's a long ball coming down to a forward that is in good position. It puts them under enormous pressure.
Jay Schultz finally puts a goal on the board for Port Adelaide.
So look at Jackson Tringo here. Just in the art of tackling. Cops an elbow from Kieran Jack, but stuck to his guns. Well done.
So they've started to get on top of the clearances, Port Adelaide. It's finally resulted in a goal. And this man's been outstanding so far. Ebert shares it with Gray. Things starting to look up. That ball, talk about looking up, he had to look up for an uncomfortable period of time there, Matty White. And Ebert's kept on going, and he's taken the mark.
Now, if they... Look, we know how much they believe in their ability to run. It'll be interesting to see what toll that takes on the Sydney players, whether they can run enough and smart enough to negate what Port Adelaide's doing.
That's the double green theory. That's why they go with it, because they put you to the sword for 120 minutes. If you fail for a block, they cash in.
So Brad Ebert, 7 goals, 4 for the season. It's an outstanding effort. It's just gone across the face, though, for a minor score.
And King, you're just going on your double green theory. It is so evident down here. After going 2 goals down, most teams, you're right, they go the red, they slow the game up. Port Adelaide just threw caution to the wind. They started flicking the handballs around. They started winning the contested ball a little bit more, started spreading a lot harder, and just started running more. It is so evident that we've seen down here in the last 10 minutes. That's what's got them back into the game.
Jack takes the mark, feeds it back to Melcheski. It's been a wonderful ball winner for them this season. Reece Shaw couldn't complete the job, and now there's an opportunity for Port. Trengove, Cassisi.
Torp. This is a shocker.
Grundy, Impey. Grundy had the answers in that.
You know what he didn't do? He didn't go to ground. It's a poor handball now, but he got possession because he didn't go to ground.
Gray feeding Impey, and now Hartlett. Had to hurry that left foot, and it showed. Up to meet it, Schultz to apply the clamps on Laidler. And they are winning more of the contest, but this one's going to go over the line and out of bounds.
They have stemmed the bleeding from the contested possession point of view, and they had to, because that's Sydney's game. If you don't compete there, you're in trouble on the scoreboard. That's why the Swans got away to a fast start. Ebert's lifted. The captain's out there orchestrating the positioning around these stoppages, and they've corrected pretty quick.
And Gray's been in the thick of it as well. Impey feeling Swans everywhere. I think he's going to be pinged here. This is one of these contentious decisions that a lot of footy fans are a little uncomfortable with. Sam Reid, 3 goals last week. back in defence just for the moment, but he'll be drifting into the forward line. Grundy.
Both these sides like to play fast footy on counter-attack. The number 1 and 2 ranked teams for having fast counter-attack from defensive 50 to score, Jace. We call fast counter-attack 0 to 15 seconds. Sydney have had that taken them away from them by Port. They're very good defensively. They want to get back to their opponent, guard good space, has slowed Sydney down counter-attack-wise.
Well, that kick from Dane Rampey certainly won't please the coach. Here's Broadbent as a result, tried to craft a kick, and it was there was almost some high contact as well, and Trengove Mitchell.
It's a poor kick.
Yeah, it's taken by Grundy.
Needed to try and thread the hand pass through to runners.
Now, speaking of runners, Bird on the outside. Next stop would be either Goods on the wing or he goes for Shaw instead. And he's able to stretch the handball to Jetta.
Yeah, Franklin one out with Jonas in the forward 50 at the moment.
Cunningham just on the cusp of the 50. Got a little shove from Cassisi. Of course, Cunningham with 4 goals of his own last week. Played every game so far this year, Harry Cunningham.
This is where they're dangerous, Hutto. They've kicked 2 goals so far, 1 from a forward 50 stoppage and 1 from forward 50 tackle pressure. This is where the Swans want to play the game. The build-up of pressure, it draws free kicks, it draws errors.
Carlisle back on Franklin in the goal square. We're going to have to wait because of the blood rule. So is that an indication that when Buddy goes to true full forward that Carlisle will play on him, boys, or not?
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be mix and match. And we've seen a number of transitional phases already where Homsch, who started on Franklin, was there. We saw Trengove compete with him one out. I think we've seen Jonas. We saw Broadbent at one time having to cover because of the quick transition of play. I think if he goes really deep, they'd love Carlisle to be there.
Tommy Derrick's played just the 2 games with the Tigers and now in his 11th with the Sydney Swans. He might know. He goes for a pass, just poked it for Goods.
Yeah. He wants another stoppage, Tommy.
You wonder why they do that, don't you?
Ebert able to feed it through to Boak.
You're going to have a field day Wednesday, Jace.
Well, I think you just got to keep it simple. We're talking about a ruckman. We're not talking about one of the classiest midfielders in the game. Trying to thread the needle on a tight angle in the pocket. You're better off sitting it up at the top of the square. Play the percentages.
You can just see Trengove there, guys, coming off. You just see that stray elbow from Jack, flush right on the nose, and the umpires are finally caught him 5 minutes later.
They are starting to do more damage in this area, Port. Combining well, and it's Boak.
This is the problem.
Yeah, Westhoff and Rampy.
We've seen one long kick where they got Schultz one out. He got a free kick, kicked their goal. Every other long kick has been to a 1-on-2.
They have won 8 of the last 10 clearances, though, Port. They have really taken control there, winning the territory battle. The forward line structure won't be perfect because of a loose man at either end. Free kick to Sydney, which takes away that pressure they were applying through territory, Jace. I think Port have settled quite well this last 5 minutes.
Hanbury just 2 disposals up until then, so Kane Corns doing the job for Port. Here's Lloyd. He spotted someone on their own in the middle, and that's someone. Here's Craig Bird. Just had to wait a little longer than he would have liked, so it does allow Port to get some protection back in place. Brandon Jack, bit of a standoff with Wines. He's got him for pace. We know that. It's a high ball. Adam Goods is going to come with a big run and a rush and take the mark. No, yes, it is paid. That time the players didn't pay it.
Well, that's the speed factor. I just think whenever you've got a player with speed, they've got Brandon Jack, they've got Jetta, who can be the other half-forward flanker to inject a bit of quality running at the top of 50. He could have had a shot. He could have driven it long to the goal square. He set a high ball up, Jace, about 30 from goal. It was a perfect place for Goods.
Yeah, I think Ken Hingley would be disappointed that no one chopped it off, though. He was able to run out and actually mark it on the chest in the end.
Goalless last week, kicked 3 and had 17 disposals the week before against Geelong. Adam Goods, it's fading very late. Look, it was online early, as you saw, but in his 16th season, Adam Goods has missed. And Sydney 2-4-16, so 6 scoring shots to 2, and their lead is just 9 points.
What we do know with Port is when you've got them on the ropes like this, you need to put them away, because the longer they stay in the game, you know they're going to come. We've seen big rushes of 8, 9, 7 goal streaks that Port have been able to put to their opposition in third quarters and in last quarters this season. So the time is now for the Swans to get this advantage on the scoreboard.
Port Adelaide beat Sydney last year. That was at Amy Stadium in round 13. 18 points. Here's Kennedy with an opportunity, which he doesn't take either.
It's a few good opportunities gone to waste for the Swans. I wouldn't want to waste too many of them.
Careful kick back into play. Now, Jonas and McVeigh got a hand on that, and what a difference it made. Buddy Franklin. Wow, it was a quick-fire shot for goal, wasn't it?
And guess what? Carlisle got his body behind the ball. At least he got his body behind it.
He didn't have much choice. No. That was coming at speed.
That's twice Jared McVeigh's affected the spoil. He was the one that spoiled Carlisle's kick that resulted in the goal. And that time he smothered the hand pass.
They're having serious problems getting out of here at the moment, the Swans. Wingard just trying to wade his way through. Malcheski successfully too. Hanbury feeding Kennedy. He chose Lloyd, who kicks long to full forward. Again, under the pressure down there is Goods. And again, Broadbent came in with assistance and needs to farm it back. And he got good help from Kasisi. Not so good with the handball. And Hobbs, a big sigh of relief.
This is the building of the pressure we talk about. It's not great play. It's messy football in a lot of ways, but the Swans want to lock the ball in here. They want to play the game in their forward half, take the run away from Port Adelaide. They need to play on here. Corns needs to go there. He needs to try and get speed back into the game.
I reckon it's a pressure they haven't really faced this year, Port Adelaide, which is probably a really good test for them.
Well, Hartlett did go, but his troops down the ground weren't quite ready. And Shaw with the intercept to Parker and to Malcheski. You know the rest. It's going to go close. No, it doesn't make the distance. Good late pressure from Monfries.
Even though he missed the target, Kingy, that Hartlett kick was the one that could break them open if he finds the right option. You know, he had a couple of players there, just missed him by 5 metres.
Big Lobe's got the footy inside defensive 50, and he's calling on Mitchell to come up the ground.
Why do they do that and then kick it straight to the opposition?
White got the arm in, but he's still outnumbered out there. The Swans getting soldiers to the footy, and here comes the ball again through Lloyd and Bird. He waited, gave it to Shaw, who angled one for Franklin. Little nudge from Carlisle, was successful, and the ball over the line and out of bounds. We've got a minute 33 remaining in the opening term.
See, I like the look of Adam Goods deep at full forward. He's got Broadbent as an opponent who wants to be a half-back flank type. He doesn't want to be a key post defender. They've got to give Adam Goods some good high ball opportunity in the goal square.
Of course, no Kurt Tippett today, but also no Ben McGlynn. Who's been a key player for them this year, the Swans. Franklin fighting a bit of a lone battle in there and winning it almost. The handball slapped back by Mitchell. It's up for grabs, literally. Hanbury off to Kennedy. Here they go. Franklin was perfect for his left boot. Unfortunately, though, the shape of the kick took it the other way. And the Swans now with a scoreline they wouldn't like too much. 2 goals, 8.
They've created 10 scoring shots, though. And that would signal some alarm bells in the Port Adelaide box.
Broadbank gives it plenty to half-back. Shaw to come late with the fist. Mitchell went to ground at the critical moment, but got up first and fed it through to Wingard. The talented Wingard, just his 3rd disposal. Can he make it count? Well, he does. Even though Westhoff went to ground, he got involved again, Wingard. Pittard down to Monfries as the target. Malcheski was able to fend it away to play his role, not just as the attack coming out of defence, but also doing the negating stuff. Now Schultz finds Wingard.
Could have let it go another 5 metres, would have been marked by Westhoff. I wonder if Wingard's in range. Those last 2 passages, though, that's Port Adelaide's play, isn't it? That's what they want.
Well, Robbie Gray's within range. That's a look at Ted Richards. He's furious.
Well, he's had some sort of year, Robbie Gray. He leads the competition in score involvements. The #1 player in the competition for score involvements. It's been an amazing season from him. I think he's nearly their most important player. He's an impossible matchup. He can go into the midfield when they're in a crisis situation, but he creates scores inside the forward 50. That's why they love him.
He's averaging 23 disposals per game this year, King. His previous best was 17, so way up on that. He's been averaging just under 2 goals a game, and right now is the time to show it. Robbie Gray on the quarter-time siren. He's not going to bring that back enough. So both sides leaving something out there. Sydney 2-8-20. Tight contest. We expected nothing else, but the Swans dominating as far as the inside 50s are concerned. 18-13. Their lead, though, is 12 points. Lobie and Derricks then to get into it again at the start of this second quarter, and away they go through Bo Kadee, but so early hands, although that's a But not a great handball. Made it tough for Gray. Loby's follow-up work was outstanding. They're into the 50. Matty White on the merry-go-round. Quick kick from Broadbent to full forward. From the side, Gray's everywhere. Monfries, that's what he's got to do. That is exactly what he's got to do. Angus Monfries is one of those Port players who's had troubles with an ankle. Was off for 3 weeks with a hamstring and then came back and played, and then was off for another couple of weeks with the ankle issue. But he's back out there today and kicking Port Adelaide's first goal of the second quarter. They're back within 6. Kieran Jack. Impey versus Jetta. Here comes Buddy Franklin. Now Parker from just outside 50. Swift response, but it's only a minor score.
Gee, centre bounces are so important at the City Cricket Ground. You get really good territory almost immediately. It's a scoring zone. As soon as you can get a positive possession chain going there, really required a better finish there from Parker, who's had also a sensational season.
So Kane Corns kicking in for Port. Asked a fair bit out there of Ollie Wines, surrounded by Swans.
Yeah, it's a poor option, isn't it?
Franklin dabs it into the pocket for Cunningham.
Come back, that's it. On the 15.
Kick to a 2-on-4.
Franklin wants it back.
Oh, yeah. And he could have had it too because he pushed off on Carlisle.
Goods is back in the square with Kennedy. Goods goes again. Here's the lead, and the execution not perfect.
This is okay. This is all right. This is why they go wide inside the forward 50. Instead of going to the top of the goal square, the Swans like to go wide. They like to get repeat opportunities. They're very organised at forward 50 stoppages. Wouldn't be surprised if they goaled here.
That's a vacant square. Port will be on red alert. The boundary throw and drops short. Parker tried to dig it out. Holmes gave it straight back. Kennedy, White. Now, how's the umpire going to read this? It's a ball up.
Another opportunity. Just have a look how organised they are. Players know where to go. They're vacating the square. They're leaving that square unmanned. Port need to get a goalkeeper-type player back in there. If they don't, there'll be the old dribble goal.
And this could be it. Adam Goods, though, decides to loft it instead. And again, they are so deadly, as Kingy said. Goods shows it one more time. Oh, he's been everything over the years, hasn't he? A key forward, he's been a ruckman, been a ruck rover, played on the wing, even in defence at times. And he's still doing it all these years later.
You know, Honch didn't do that much wrong. He was goal side, he had touch and feel on him, but Goods was just too clever at the stoppage to push off at the right time and get a yards break.
I can't remember the last All-Australian ruckman to play a small forward role a few years later, Jace, but they've only scored the 3 goals, Sydney, 2 of them from forward 50 stoppages. It just shows how damaging they are.
Both brilliant effort there from Cunningham. Used his pace in a defensive action. Monfries comes through. Loby just hacking it forward. Smith, and they'll repel through Richards. So they spread it wide for Rampy. And decides to handball to Lloyd. He looks back towards his defensive goal and ends up screwing it around the corner somewhat haphazardly. Now Mitchell contained it well.
Clever.
Ebert into the 50. And Boak will have the shot for goal.
Well,
no, he won't.
Squared it up. That's a good option.
And Broadbent will have the shot for goal.
You've got to go back and kick this now. They did that really well. They forced the turnover on the wing because Sydney had nothing. Port had the numbers coming out first towards the wing side, and when Sydney were forced to go up the line with a quick kick, they were outnumbered. Port got the quick turnover, and then you always have those options, loose players in the attacking 50.
Well, he's their equal #1 rebounding defender, Matthew Broadbent. Only 1 goal for the year. Can he kick his second from 35 metres out?
That's disappointing. See, that really closes the gap if he kicks that, and they would have felt a lot better about themselves, Port Adelaide. A lot of this is a mental battle for them as well.
Nick Smith with the outstretched hands takes the mark. Margin back to 12. Heaves it onto the wing. Cunningham takes it, growing in confidence, this young man.
They're out. If they can get this ball quickly forward, you've got Parker running free.
Well, Buddy's one-on-one inside 50 with Carlisle at the moment. If it gets that far, and it will, he couldn't take the mark, and Carlisle had the last say. Is it out yet? Not quite. Franklin comes again. Bird, the outside of the boot. Pittard some rare liberty.
Did not look at all.
He actually had a little bit of space and time.
That was get it out of my area as quick as I possibly can.
Well, he's done that. Then Rampy fumbled. Wingard can put it over the top.
Great.
And Angus Monfries can stroll into goal for his second of the quarter. His second of the game. And it's back to a goal of difference again. Monfries kicks his second. Dane Rampy's had a couple of forgettable moments today. Interesting stat there. Marks inside 50, 6-1 in favour of Port Adelaide. 3-9 plays 3-3. First versus third from the SCG. Free kick to Lobie.
They've started the second term well. Oh no! Who threw that back?
Not for you, for the throw.
For the throw back that didn't get to him on the full. Was it Kieran Jack? Saw him react off the ball, whether that was at a teammate or at himself. But the rule is you've got to give the ball back on the full once you choose to throw it back. Kieran Jack disappointed with himself.
I'm sure he'll get some feedback at half-time from the coach. It's not all positive.
Don't go closer than that.
There he is, flicks it as he's running backwards and it doesn't get there.
I think I heard the word Hollywood mentioned in there by someone. Shot for goal coming up for Lobie. And you can see what confronts him. This is to tie things up. Both sides have missed some really goal-edged opportunities.
They could be in front. They've just missed 2 regulation shots for goal that would have put them in front, and that would have been a tremendous psychological boost for Port Adelaide.
Nick Malcheski then. Oh, he goes super short.
Don't hold play on.
To McVeigh, and now Malcheski.
Don't go forward, back of Vida. That's it.
Practicing those brilliant kicking skills. Parker.
Play on.
Out wide for Richards. Again, a bit untidy this from the Swans on the way out. Cleaned up by Richards and Shaw.
Yep, I'm here.
Fair bit of pointing going on down the line as to where to place the ball, but Wingard, nothing wrong with his anticipation or his skills. He got away from Jeddah, left them all in his wake, pumps it up deep. Westhoff looming, pushing and shoving. Over the top, Rampy with a good spoil, but Monfries kept it alive, kept it bubbling for Port. Oh, White didn't mark it. It might not matter. He's got the chance to kick the goal, to put them in front, Matthew White, and he's done it.
Been a goal kicker for them since he got there, hasn't he? Matty White, been a great pickup.
Arguably the pickup of the year. 5 times he's kicked multiple goals this season. And they're winning the contested possessions now. And they've got some confidence suddenly. Both they're storming forward. Wingard feeding it out. Here he is again. Matty White on the fly. And he's kicked another goal.
Another tumbler.
Neither of them pretty, but they are beautiful for Port Adelaide.
Well, good news down here, guys. Hamish Hartlett, as we just see here on the boundary line, looks to be okay, and he's about to come back on.
Yeah, we've seen a number of Port players, as we said, suffer those ankle injuries, but on most of the occasions, they've been able to come back on during the actual game.
Robbie Gray again. He's been fantastic the last 5 minutes, Hutto. He's the one that's got them going out the middle.
His 10th disposal coming up.
Just a good lead from Westhoff.
And he kicked it into the space in front of him. Westhoff went to ground. So once he didn't take the mark, he was out of it. But he's back in it now. Used all of his exertion there and went to ground eventually. Impey having trouble containing it, but Gray able to feed it back. Pittard, Corns. It's a fair bit of fumbling in this passage of play, but no damage done. At least not yet.
Strange kick.
Cunningham and now Laidler. Trengove hits hard back the other way. Parker to Lloyd. Yeah, what's the resources like in the 50? Franklin deep.
Is that 50?
Wow. Comes back to Parker. Some confusion reigning there for the players. Impey, Cassisi again. Adam Goods gave him a little inch. He took it and he's kicked it again, Adam Goods. He's still doing it at 34.
That's taking your chances when they come. It's a great finish. All of a sudden, a couple of those misses from Port look really bad now.
Here we go.
They could have opened up a bit of a break. It's almost a goal against the run of play.
418 goals in his brilliant career.
Here's again.
Here's Robbie Gray. not just today, he's having an outstanding season. But it's coming back, and it's coming back quickly. Bird, the fast-moving Jack, Kennedy, Gray, late tackles as well. And he did force the turnover. Now here's Derricks. He was told to keep it simple earlier.
Should have been gone.
Hasn't listened to the advice. Robbie Gray again.
He's Robbie Gray's last 10 minutes, guy. Absolutely outstanding. Talking to Kenny Hinkley before the game, I said, you know, how deep does your midfield run? He goes, people forget I can put Robbie Gray and Wingard in there at any time I want.
Broadbent searching for Schultz, and that's a good result.
Well, that's been an asset that he's used today. And look at the clearances at the moment. It's 5-1 out of the middle, and Robbie Gray has had 3 of those, and the ruckman has been given 2 free kicks for the other 2. So it just shows you exactly what you're talking about, Moons, the versatility Ken Hinkley has.
Trengove to Jack. He's going to be clipped by Boak, so he just rushed the kick, and Homsch takes the mark. Off to Jonas. He has to search wide again for Schultz. He nearly held on. Wingard, Kennedy, Richards.
He's gone.
See what Port have been able to do? They've nailed Josh Kennedy with a couple of great tackles, and he normally is strong enough to get his arms free, shoot out the hand pass. He's had the 9 possessions, but not getting a lot of freedom in terms of his use of the footy.
Trengove to Wingard again. Maybe cop some high contact.
So they need a lift from a couple of their midfielders. This quarter, Dan Hanbury yet to get a possession. He's the one that, for me, is the barometer with the Sydney Swans. When he's playing good football, their overlap seems to work. Their good handball from congestion seems to work. 0 disposals, 0 impact in the second term.
Got Kane Corn shadowing him.
And Kane Corns himself has only had 3 disposals. You know it's a hard tag when Kane Corns only has a handful of disposals.
Here he goes.
Sure, but are they out? Not yet. Pittard as they line up the Port players. Again, keeping your feet so difficult but so vital in these conditions. Numbers everywhere. Boak, clean enough. Wines.
Play on, play on, play on!
Shaw, McVeigh.
You. Yes.
Adventurous handball really under the circumstances for the
They have to
Swans.
invent something here.
Buddy, we know he's only got one side to head. Richards, he knew that too. Goods called upon. Couldn't mark. There's virtually no players between where this action is on the wing and the Swans' goal.
Gee, he recovered well, Homsch, then. He beat Luke Parker back to the loose ball. Good strength, good speed off the mark.
This is where they like to make the ground bigger. They like to spread laterally, get to the extremities of the ground, you can see here, and then get their running game going. Use the uncontested marks. Got Mitchell out in the wing. They've got an overlap at half forward. Looks to be Broadbent. Just hung in the air too long, that one. Took their advantage away. But look at Hartlett running through the middle here. You can see them getting on their bike cutter.
It's extreme width here, isn't it? So it's interesting to see how they actually handle that and turn that advantage you're talking about into scores.
Well, it's done by design. These sorts of things don't happen by fluke. They are random plays if you look at them in isolation, but the players run to a position. They know where they're going. It's just so slow in transition there that it didn't work for them on that occasion.
Here's a look from behind as Port are able to generate something, and it's White again orchestrating the move to full forward. Monfries hit amongst 3 Swans. Hartlett back out there moving fairly gingerly, it has to be said, but the ball's out of bounds.
Kingy, just to go back onto your point, we spoke at the start of the game, didn't we, about this ground almost being the perfect ground for Port Adelaide. They can spread the opposition out, then start picking the holes through the gaps. And it's also from an attacking point of view, we know how short it is, coast to coast. We know how great they are as well.
Lobie and Derricks again entwined in battle. Robbie Gray. I'd love to have McGlynn to be able to put on to someone like Robbie Gray at the moment, but he's out of the team. Trengove now, as he dived on that ball. Well, it's out anyway.
You now.
Kennedy, he got the word from Reid, who looked up and saw absolutely nothing. A blank screen. Handballed it back for Jetta. Kicks to the 1-on-2. They can hold it in. Cunningham, he'll have done a mighty job, and he has done a good job. They just stay a move ahead, though, Port Adelaide. Jonas feeding Pittard, looking this side of the ground, searching, hunting. Again, nothing for him either. Didn't really kick to the advantage of his teammate. Trengove did well. Shaw did better. Towards the line. Fed back from Grundy. Derricks, the big ruckman, gets the handball away this time. They trail by a point, the Swans. Kick goes into half forward. He's a hard man to move, is Kennedy. Oh, and he got one in the back.
Gee, that's a silly free kick to give away, that one.
Moons, at ground level, just your opinion on this. The Swans look like they're starting to labour here. They're not covering the ground as effectively as we saw earlier. I just wonder whether this Port Power running capability is starting to take its toll.
Oh, Sam Reid, timely grab.
Had his name all over it. Had the run and jump straight over the top of the two that were involved in a one-on-one contest. He was always going to claim that one, Sam Reid, but it's going to take a pretty special kick from this angle.
Well, Kingy, just back onto your point, I mean, we've seen, doesn't matter what team it is, we've seen Port Adelaide do that to teams, so it's no surprise that we are seeing them fatigue a little bit at the moment, Sydney.
3 goals last week, unable to contribute a major there, Sam Reid, and the Swans and Port Adelaide are now all tied up, but they've got there in very different ways. 4-10 plays 5-4.
Straight over the top with Carlisle and Franklin, and I reckon that'd gladden the hearts of the Sydney supporters to see Sam Reid back grabbing the ball cleanly like that.
So they're trying to get out by hand here, which is fraught with danger.
Bit of pressure.
It's their game, Jace. Get in that forward 50, lock it in, fight and scrap, and the leaders do it. That's what I love about the Sydney Swans. You see McVeigh there, you see Goods there. They're the first over to put pressure on. It's great leadership.
Lloyd, when it comes to White. And a big quarter. Hartlett. And it's out of bounds on the full.
I think the same theory, if not the reverse of what we just saw, applies for Port Adelaide. Even though they got stopped then running out of defence, they've got to keep taking it on. You've got to be prepared to make a few mistakes and keep playing your brand of footy.
And Malcheski kicks it long into the forward line. Franklin can't get any real clear runs at it. Again, it's Gray, Broadbent and Ebert. Great collaboration. And Port back to the wing to Schultz. And again, very acceptable. The ball
in the back.
Oh,
wow. Didn't look to be much in that.
I think Schultz was as stunned as anyone.
It's a really good kick.
There's a chance.
For Westhoff.
Dropped the chesty.
He did. Feeds it back to Monfries. Tries to craft a kick. Needs Wingard to come. And he couldn't take the mark. It's out of there. What a powerful spoil it ended up being. Schultz. And again, Monfries. Treacherous conditions out there for the players when they think it's dry and find that it's not. Little opening. And unfortunately, a kick on the fall from Westhoff. Just saw the slot, thought he could get through it. Turns out he couldn't.
See, the heat's still on. They're working hard, both sides, for every possession.
Port Adelaide dropping just one game so far this year. That was on the road against North Melbourne that Eddie had. But this their biggest challenge. High contact. Again, it's White to Weaver.
The quick play on again.
On the rush again. Just
missed him.
Set it up into the 50, but it was really in nowhere as far as a Port player was concerned. Malcheski.
If Reid runs here,
play on. He's called play on. He hasn't heard it.
Clearly, I think he marked it because Homps thought he marked it.
Parker thinks he did. He fumbled the ball, but I'm not sure that it actually hit the ground in between fumbles. He can't believe it. I reckon he probably took it at the second grab, but the umpire thought it actually hit the ground, so we get a good look at it here. Oh, no, I can see why he didn't pay. That's a good decision by the umpire, I reckon.
Lobie took the free and took it into White again. He's got a metre on McVeigh. That was all he needed. He's kicked it deep. Schultz, the bodywork critical. And the umpires look at each other and say, I think it's out of bounds. Scores a level. Still 7 minutes remaining in this second quarter. So delicately poised on a beautiful afternoon at the SCG. Big crowd in, expectations high. Not disappointed with the contest. Goals at a premium.
They're just tougher at the moment, Port Adelaide. They are simply tougher than Sydney. They are beating them at their own game. 17 hard ball gets to 4 in this second quarter.
There was some risk in that kick on the way out too. Shaw lost his footing. Desperate lunging handball. McVeigh, that was clever, and Lloyd skillful enough to get clear. And now Jack, we know he's got the wheels. He has a look at Cassisi and instead fires it into Franklin, who's had a quiet quarter.
Dropped the pud.
Carlisle, oh, buddy, he's been allowed to get away with it. He's spinning revolutions here and there. Back to McVeigh and then feeds it to Jetta.
He can kick this. He could kick a torpedo from here. He kicked about 6 during the pre-game.
He practiced them before the game. He goes for the drop punt. You're right, Kingy. He could kick them. He's kicked it with a standard drop punt, and Sydney are in front. Just the 5 disposals today for Lewis Jetta. He's had a good season. It's taken a while to get back to that form from a couple of years ago.
I think he owed him that one, Hutto. He was on Matty White early in this term.
Yep.
White's kicked 2 for the quarter. He needed the impact, and he did. Credit to him.
So Swans back up by a goal. Crowd starting to get involved again. It's swiftly into the 50, but it's going to come just as quickly out. Well done, Hops.
Oh, they wanted to use the middle of the ground. Boak was on his own. A little slow in seeing him.
Gee, he went a long way back off the mark, Hops. Kicked it to Impey. Cunningham. Industrious stuff from both teams. Wingo cleaned up. Well done, Bird, but off the ground was a good idea, but
Great
he
kick.
was in the right spot. Now Boak back and took on Kennedy by hand and backed himself in, but again the ball just slipping through. Been hard for both sides to handle at times. Jack, they're charging through the middle of the Swans. Goods claim. Now has he done enough for the umpire?
He's had a really good game one-on-one, Carlo. Every person that he's gone on, every opponent that he's gone on, he's just done a really good job. He's been held one-on-one with Buddy as well, so he's doing an amazing job today.
Just look at the ground level battle. You can see from round 5 to 12. This is why the Sydney Swans are back in form. Differential versus their opponents. That's hard ball gets and loose ball gets. Plus 143, which is double the advantage of the second-ranked team and quadruple the advantage of the 3rd and 4th and 5th. Port Adelaide are a break even, but today they find themselves 9 in front. That is a huge win. That's all been the second term.
Reid doing a marvellous job there. Tracked it all the way. Jack, high ball. Franklin, can he sort himself out in time? No, he couldn't.
He has to get a free kick for that at some stage, doesn't he, Jack?
He's not enjoying the 1 against 2, is he, Buddy Franklin? And Sydney aren't helping him out with the kicks. He's just getting worked off by his opponent while the loose comes back and takes the mark.
The absence of Tippett is glaring, isn't it, when they go forward?
Well, they become one-dimensional.
What does that mean as far as Sam Reid is concerned about what he has to do?
Well, he's got to present more. He's got to put himself in that position to receive more kicks.
Now Buddy gets a rare opportunity with some space.
It just shows you the modern game, Hutto. You just cannot turn the ball over exiting your back 50. Swans have kicked 2 goals from forward 50 stoppages and 3 goals too from intercepting the ball in their forward 50. Now that is their score. In a nutshell, that is their game. They're about to get another possible goal here from that sort of play. Fantastic defence.
Buddy Franklin, 3 behind so far.
Take it 4.
Memories of 2 goals, 7 a few weeks ago.
He's just warming up.
Just finding the lines.
Still good finish with half a dozen.
Well, that's it. You look at the positive. He's already had 4 shots at goal. We're not at half-time yet.
Swans have had 16 scoring shots to 9, yet the inside 50 count is level. Pittard prepared to take a bit of a gamble, and it's going to come off. Ebert has 2 went to ground. Mitchell can carry it through the middle. He can give it back to Ebert. One more handball. No, he decides to pass. He had a plethora of options, and he chose Jay Schultz.
I love the way Ebert just made that up as he was going. He gave the hand pass, he got it back, and a lot of players would have been tempted to go for goal. There was an open goal square from 50, but it was a simple little chip to the leading Schultz, who's your best goal kicker, a beautiful set shot. It was the percentage play. You'd hit that target with the little chip kick more often than you'd kick the 50-metre goal on the run.
So Jay Schultz with 1 goal to his name.
Just doesn't miss.
You can add another. What an outstanding player he is. Back to 1 point as we get late in this second term. 6-4-40 to 5-11-41. Jay Schultz, his best effort against the top 8 side this year is 3 goals, so he has struggled against the better opponents relatively, but enjoying a wonderful season. And the Swans, let's see what they've got. Jack, deep, this time it's Goods in the spotlight again. He loves it in the spotlight. Hobbs getting very nervous. Goods, still he goes to Jack, back to Goods. It's not out yet. And he kept it alive with Jetta. Walking that tightrope, but never falling off. Bird takes the mark. Now, Craig Bird can kick a decent distance. Can he kick it accurately on a day like today? He goes out wide to try and give himself a bit more leverage. Didn't hit it. Homsch takes it out of bounds.
Love the way Jack Holmes didn't panic. One-on-one with Adam Goods. He didn't go too far and give away the free kick. He stayed in the contest. He stayed on Goods and he halved it. Did very well.
Back into play.
Oh, poor throw in.
Well short. Parker tried to give it to Jack. Now it's Mitchell.
Straight
out in the full.
Well, that's a panic kick. But that throw-in could easily have resulted in a direct goal to Sydney.
Was it almost short enough to recall?
I think so. Fortunately, it didn't result in a goal.
And the pass was aimed at Lloyd.
That's beaten everyone.
It has. Laidler. Humphries just withdrew the tackle at the right moment. Bird again. Corns. Cunningham. Richards. Smith. Finally, it goes back the other way. Oh, it's a big kick too. Pittard and Reid. Minor score. And nudge up to a 2-point lead now. 5-12. Plays 6-4.
Well, the longer the contest goes, the more confident Port will get. We know how strongly they run out games. We heard Ken Hinkley pre-game telling us they just want to be in the contest until the end because they'll back themselves.
McVeigh into the pocket. Reid manhandled by Carlisle. Oh, it's Adam Goods again. Adam Goods again. What a star. Three goals for Adam Goods. And the Swans lead is now 8. A minute and a half before the major break. Top of the ladder, Port Adelaide against third place Sydney Swans on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. The combat is great to watch. Robbie Gray lofts it out to the wing. Mitchell versus Bird. White had an opportunity. Plenty of rain overnight, hence the players going to ground. Wines tried to keep it moving. The Swans hitting back through Malcheski and Shaw and Jack and Bird. And suddenly they look particularly dangerous. Franklin's gone to ground. He's got up again. And he's the target now amongst three Port players. Lobie joined the fray at the right moment. Pittard for Tringove. And Impey up his sleeve, but goes shorter than that and finds Schultz. Hartler playing forward, so too Westhoff. Leads them wide right up to the 50. Yeah, wasn't it a beauty? So will he centre it or have a crack? Schultz is not down there.
No, they've got all their numbers back, Sydney, now. It's going to be very hard to pinpoint a pass. Lobie gets down on the line with Derek, so he's got to have the long shot now.
His team trailing by 8 points just before half-time. Westhoff with a mighty kick, but it's just across the face.
Good effort.
And through for a behind, so that will be your half-time score. Sydney 6-12-48, leading Port Adelaide 6-4-40. A willing contest, Jace.
Oh, it's been terrific. It hasn't perhaps been the classical one we were looking for, but we've got two of the best teams in the comp side by side. Virtually only a kick in it. We've got a great second half coming.
6-12-48, the Sydney Swans. Port Adelaide 6-5-41. The Swans have been inside 50 just on a couple of more occasions. And contested possession basically level. So many indicators. It's close. Sydney have laid more tackles.
That's the one thing that Sydney's leading in. Most of the other stats are pretty even. And that's what they're renowned for. So it's both teams trying to impose their own brand of footy on the other.
Thank goodness as far as the Swans are concerned. For Adam Goods, he's kicked 3 goals. And Moons is downstairs with one of their other stars.
Joshy, mate, Port Adelaide, they almost beat you at your own game then, didn't they, in close?
Yeah, really good pressure, really good tackling pressure. We haven't got much time, so we just got to make sure we get numbers to the contest and use each other and keep our run going.
What about your forward line? It seems to be working okay once you get in there pretty quick.
Yeah, we've got to try and make it a bit easier, getting in there a bit quicker. Hopefully Buddy can get some one-on-ones, and Goodsy's obviously back to his best down there, so we just got to get in there and put them under pressure.
Thanks for your time, Josh. Good luck.
Thank you, Moons. Had a bit of hard work catching him there, but he finally was able to convince Josh Kennedy. All right, we'll break at halftime. Big crowd at the SCG. Saturday afternoon footy, the Sydney Swans leading it by 7. Carlisle still alongside Franklin. So after a little break at half-time, they're ready to take it up to each other again. The Swans and Port Adelaide on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Kennedy was able to feed it out to Jack, but White trying to get going. Cunningham's had some injury troubles, but he's up and about, and he's laid a big tackle there.
Matty White's so used to breaking away from opponents, but Harry Cunningham's got plenty of leg speed.
Kennedy lugged the kick up to the 50, and it was well placed, wasn't it, for Luke Parker to take the mark. Now, is this beyond him? He thinks it is, so spears it into the pocket. McVeigh. Oh, yes! What an unbelievable goal! The skipper rises. And the margin out to 13 now, and it hasn't been much higher than that for the Swans during the game. So once again, it's delicately poised as far as Port Adelaide is concerned. Their leaders are just so fine, aren't they, the Swans?
In the middle.
Big Lobie sends Port wide to half forward, and it was well guided for Boak. High to full forward. Westhoff looks the most likely. There's always Wingard, but Rampy does well.
Interesting that Port Adelaide have taken 8 marks inside their forward 50 already. Sydney only the 4. Just haven't had that presence, that big man presence down there today. I know Moons touched on that earlier in the game, that they don't have that player, but they do have that player in Westhoff and Schultz. They've been fantastic all year. They haven't been able to get it on the scoreboard just yet. That's been the difference.
Real uncertainty for Melcheski, but he trusts his skills to hit Reece Shaw. And the Swans have got it at least to the wing, but it's going to come back.
Puts his hands up in an apology. Reece Shaw wasn't what he was looking for. Chance for Port to bounce back.
Reece Shaw, one of 4 Sydney Swans players who were listed to play today, is over 30. Pike was one of those, and he was a late withdrawal. So just the 3 out there.
Oh, good hands.
Schultz takes the mark. Laidler on guard. Pitter, we know he's got a big kick, and he takes it all the way to full forward. Oh, Robbie Gray.
Lucky. Very lucky not to give away a free kick there, Robbie Gray. Taken out there by Kennedy.
You thought it was a free?
I thought it was a free kick.
Okay.
His sole intention was to take Robbie Gray out of that marking contest.
Richards with a low ball on the way out. Just making sure it wasn't going to go out on the full. Cunningham takes it over in a more regulation fashion.
You can see Gray there. He's about to fly for that mark. Kennedy's having no involvement in that marking contest. He just bodies him out of the way. It's a block.
What he does do well, though, Kennedy, is he keeps his eye on the footy while he's doing it. He knows where his man is. He doesn't need to look back at him.
Lobie, and there's those two going at it. Kennedy. What a tug of war that was. Great struggle. Well done, Robbie Gray, against 2 Swans in the end. Had the muscle to hang on. 12 points the difference. Another stoppage in the sunshine on the outer wing. Margin is 12. Again they go at it. Kennedy bracing himself for 3 or 4. Just throw any number at me, I don't mind. And he'll stay all the way and force another ball up. Early stages of the 3rd. Cut and thrust. First versus 3rd on the AFL ladder. Kennedy again, clamped down. Looking for a way out. Lobie. Getting the ball's one thing, getting out cleanly is another, but they've done it. Trengove almost all the way to full forward. Monfries versus Melcheski. Hartlett resting in the pocket. A little lame from his early injury. The ball out of bounds. Good respect there from Melcheski. Actually held Hartlett up by the jumper, mind you. Margin is 12. Port pressing. Lobie brings it to ground. Winds to Gray. He's a prime mover, and he gave it to Ebert, who does the rest. And Port are not going to go out of this easily. "20 disposals, Brad Ebert." And again, Robbie Gray outstanding.
He's the one, Robbie Gray. He's the one out of control at the moment for Port in the midfield. He's created 5 scores from his 16 disposals already. That's his forward half work that's coming to the fore.
Bird, as the Swans swing it into the 50. It's all Port back there, though. Trengove had some time on his side. Mitchell versus Laidler. Laidler comes hard, and fairly mechanical old handball, and he's got it over the line. Margin 6 at the SCG now.
Keep the meter.
How are you reading the field down there, Moons, with the energy levels?
Don't go in, boys.
I think the quarter started a little bit flat from both sides, especially Sydney. I just watching them walk around the boundary line, the crowd is not really into it at the moment either. They are very much a crowd that really do ride on the emotion of them playing well. They're not a side that or a team that doesn't do that otherwise.
Scrappy shot at goal from Broadbent. And the ball goes over the line and out of bounds.
It's a really good kick from Ebert. Went over the back, gave Broadbent a chance, but Brandon Jack had the pace to go with him and put the pressure on. But that's a good result for Port to force the stoppage, get the ball out of bounds deep in the pocket.
Ebert is clear here at this throw-in. Doesn't go in his direction. Instead, it's Jack. They're circling around. Melcheski. The kick was pure for Franklin, but so was the fist from Carlisle. Just tell us again what you've loved about Carlisle's work, Moons, down there and Buddy.
Oh, look, I love his body work. He's so strong, and what he does, he reads the play so early and so well. And as soon as you're about to lead, he just body checks you and makes sure that you can't run to where you want to run as a forward. And then he pushes you out to the boundary line where you don't want to be as well.
Bird to Melcheski, collected his thoughts, swung it to the wing. Hanbury, two Port players to deal with. They're dealt with, and now Jack's on the run, cutting the angles, kept them guessing. Jetta, he's got Kennedy, he's got Jack to give it back to, didn't spot him. Kennedy, the collision didn't concern him. The kick, though, will...
It's going in.
Oh, no! How did it get there?
I don't think he was impressed either. That was a very, very weak tackling effort.
I'm not great at lip reading. But I think he's coming from
Get him off the ground? Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Trouble.
Centre bounce, Slobey again in the contest. Here's Reid flashing through the frame and getting it moving via Lloyd. Angles the kick up. Here's Hanbury. Suddenly there's some issues for Port Adelaide. He moves it wide for Melcheski. Now, can Port hit back through White? Melcheski lays a big, lengthy tackle on White. Is he doing enough for the umpire? He is.
It's never a good time for the coach to call you from the ground when the substitution hasn't been made yet. James, in a very nervous moment for Kane Mitchell.
Aaron Young is the sub. He's been a handy player at times this year. Lobey angles it down. Oh, is that high? Maybe the umpire... Well, I'm not sure the umpire had to decide on it.
I think the ball was high on his chest, and that's where he trapped it.
Again here, Jace, the goal square is unmanned by a Port Adelaide defender. I just think sometimes when these stoppages are 35, 40 from goal, it pays to have a goalkeeper.
Hanbury to Bird to McVeigh. Well, halted their progress with the call, didn't he? But surprised they didn't play advantage because it seemed to be continuous and they seemed to want to keep going.
Yeah, true. Maybe the umpire just thought, set shot, corridor, inside 50, got to be the best option. Hasn't had a lot of it. Just his second kick, third kick.
9 disposals in all. Plaudits to Kane Corns. But what a time for a big shot at goal. And he's eked it over the line and the Swans have got their biggest lead of the day. Big goal, isn't it now? Swans lead by 18. Hanbury back in the middle after his goal. 9-12 plays 7-6. Shade's taken over about half the SCG. Parker out of the middle, grubs it towards 50, gives everyone a run at it. First there, Trengove. Cunningham and Jonas. Goods. They feed it through Corns and now Robbie Gray. The escape plan is just to kick it out to the space on the wing. Might suit the Swans here. The old legs of Cassisi. He's a wily customer, though. Clever. Good stuff to Hartlett. He looks to the 50, didn't see anything he liked. Schiltz is leading this way and that. And here's the that in the pocket. And he marks it. Really steeled himself, did Schiltz. And it was a good kick, a good collect from Westhoff. And now Schiltz.
I'll tell you what, he's got a good set of hands, Joe Schiltz. But this will, and we know he's a great set shot, but this would be unbelievable from this angle.
This is a moment. This is exactly what we're saying with Hanbury at one end. This is a tougher kick, but he's got it in Joe Schiltz. He loves these moments.
Well, he loves...
Not as much as Ollie Wines.
And there's the play on.
To Pittard. The setup was complete. And in the end, even Pittard, who's a long-range kick, couldn't hit the target.
I would love to have seen Joe go back then and show some confidence in his goal kicking, which is elite. It's at the pointy end, Jace. You love his technique. I just think it's a good sign for your team that you've got that confidence.
Gee, Milcheski was pushing the line there on that kick in. Umpire either didn't see it or didn't agree with me. Shaw kicks it out to the wing, thumps it back. Now he goes to ground on the collect. Monfries
got to be in trouble. Oh, I thought that was an easy out for the umpire there, because he just grabbed it and rolled onto the ground.
Particularly when a teammate jumps on you. Normally that's the cue for the umpire to pay it.
Adam Goods just helped hold it in, didn't he?
Yep. Tossed up. Port need a spark, and again they go to Robbie Gray, to Wingard, to Lobie. Tried hard. Wingard with his second effort slides over the line and out of bounds. So they get that little bit closer.
The Kingy and Jace, it took 5 minutes, but young Kane Mitchell finally got that message. It wasn't a good one, I don't think.
Oh, no.
Well, keep a close eye on who it is when the sub's made too, Moons. I reckon he might be a leading candidate.
Boundary throw in. Again to Robbie Gray. And again he slipped it through to Monfries. To Schultz. To Gray again. He wants it back again. And feeds it. He's trying his guts out, is Gray. White works it back to Broadbent. The up, the under. It's not accurate. Schultz has got it.
That's a mark. Now, this time I don't think he'll pass it off, because he's got the easy hook out onto the right foot, kick it around the corner. You're not going to have any angle to work with, but they've got to give him 5 metres on the side.
31 goals, 7 coming into today. He's added another 2 goals straight. Astonishing accuracy. 33 goals, 7 for the year. From the boundary line, what's the plan?
He adopts this technique that most of the players do these days.
He's out.
Oh, shanked it. Oh, could float back in. Oh. That did a bit in the air, didn't it?
Gee whiz. That nearly went in.
Damien Fleming wouldn't mind playing in these conditions.
Franklin off the bench looking for the long kick out here.
And Shaw running straight at the man with a couple of bounces. Uses Milcheski. So around the boundary they go. They've got it to half-back, and McVeigh in very capable hands. Good spoil, Broadbent. Here's Parker. Now Jack. McVeigh.
Good answer.
Franklin. They are one handball away from being officially out. They've got the liberty thereafter now. Parker to Jack. This is Brandon Jack. They've closed a bit of space, so hence the hesitation. He never panicked, kept it moving. They've shut them down well. Now back the other way. They come again, though, through Lloyd to Reed. A little moment. And Homsch paid the mark.
Yeah, got to change direction here. He's played the wrong way. That'll be a behind. That'll be a behind, because he went the wrong side of the goalpost. He marked it in between the point post and the goalpost, and in his haste to play on and change direction, he ran back in between the goalposts.
Bizarre bit of play, that last build-up from Sydney. They didn't want to kick the ball deep inside their forward 50 and give Port Adelaide a fast counter-attack. So they elected to keep it in tight, stay with the handball. It cost them a score, but it didn't give
wow.
Could be a
hurts.
Very costly calamity for Port Adelaide. Lloyd, again, no one wants to take the responsibility. Laidler just kicks it in a rush. Goods almost made it a contest. Pittard has a little nervous glance over the shoulder, and they're away.
I think it was Broadbent and Ebert that were both crisscrossing for the hand pass and collided.
Hartlett hurt his ankle earlier and hasn't been the same since. Just his 7th disposal. So I wonder whether he'll be the one that's subbed out or whether they'll go with somebody else. We're almost reaching that decision time on the sub. Not quite yet.
Not yet, but they'll be looking to make something happen, Port, and they'll certainly be looking for the fresh legs.
Corns feeds it into Ebert. Now to Jonas. They come across the ground, but an option through the middle for Carlisle, perhaps. Kicks to centre half forward. West off the man, most likely. Good spoil from Rampy. Good diligent stuff. And now backing out of there is White. Wants to accelerate. Hacked it into the 50. And that's easy fodder for Grundy. Or is it?
Gone. Should be gone. Yep.
Took the advantage. It'll be okay.
Ooh, wow. That was risky. But it's in the safe hands of Jay Schultz. So a great result for Port Adelaide.
You right on your ankle, Jay? Yeah.
And the man who almost never misses. Jay Schultz.
They desperately need it, Port. They need to stay in touch, because they'll always back themselves to win the 4th term. Superior fitness. They believe in it.
You can see the angle of probability is that he will kick the goal, and he has kicked the goal. So Port stay in the fight. He's got 3.
Gone.
There's Jay Schiltz round by round.
There's a few low weeks there where he just kicked the 1, but he's consistent. He is consistent.
Big bags.
Always on the scoreboard.
Yeah, against Brisbane with the 7 goals, 6 against the Giants. Broadbent tried to poke it forward. He did that successfully enough. Into the open spaces, Parker. That great tackling from Kasisi, evident again. And they're going to storm forward through, but careful kick for Westhoff.
Yeah. This has been a really good 5 minutes for Port Adelaide, Kingy. They've opened it up with some hard running.
Well, they have, but it's been on the back of tackle pressure. Every score they've had this quarter has been on the back of a defensive action. That's when they're at their best. Force the turnover and then go, because the opposition are unorganised post-turnover.
And that tackling's led to a couple of clearances because they haven't allowed Sydney to go bang, bang, bang with quick hands and release it from the stoppage.
Sydney have won the quarter so far, and that remains the case after that wayward shot of goal from Justin Westhoff. And there is Hamish Hartlett taking the red vest. So, as we talked about,
that's a shame, isn't it?
Consequences of the ankle injury now being shown for all.
Move it on. Play on.
So they're down one of their prime movers, but in effect they have been since the injury. So it lets Aaron Young loose. Now Shaw with a careful kick to Grundy. Shaw keeps on running for him, but that's ignored. You could
Not 15. Play on.
Play on.
Play on.
did go to Shaw eventually. Just to back his speed, just to give himself some space. Wasn't a great kick. Hanbury contended well. Impey stayed just ahead of the game. Kasisi got it before Jetta was about to shut him out. Smith with the spoil. Oh, not a great time to fall over. Ebert. Handball. Grundy.
Unlucky.
Again, the slippery conditions playing a part. Bird got something onto it, not much. McVeigh, Malcheski, and they slide out of defence. Buddy, again, it's treacherous there, but he somehow got it. Couldn't keep it in friendly hands, though. And it's Port to reload through Westhoff. Had Boak on, goes for something more to full forward. Oh, Shaw fumbled. Robbie Gray's having that sort of day that he could have been able to run onto that.
Well, push in the back, he's paid.
Yeah, not sure that was there, but this is great defensive play by Port Adelaide here. The last 5 minutes or so, they've locked the ball in. They won't let the Swans out of their defensive half. Every moment meaning something here. Oh,
Laidler was all at sea. Never looked confident at all with that kick. And the setup is complete for White. And he just can't get enough on it.
Don't know that he could kick that with the right foot then. Probably needed to be left foot or a check side across his body. Tried to finesse it and kick that little instep drop punt that bends left to right.
they're threatening.
It's good pressure, isn't it?
Swans having trouble getting it out of here with real cohesion.
Which is rare. You don't see that too often. Back six for Sydney, normally in complete control.
Some concerns on the faces. Jetta goes short for Reid.
Now they're playing Port Adelaide's game. Now it's the out, open, run, overlap game. Any turnover, Port will make them pay.
Yeah, poor kick.
Really poor.
And Homsch has the footy for Port.
They want the stoppage game, the handball game, the overlap out of traffic, Sydney. Whereas Port want this sort of game, a kicking game. Go forward.
Kasisi. He's got a moment. And he keeps it in. Gives Gray the chance. Can't see off Smith. And the umpire was pretty vicious on the call there. We've seen others get away with that.
He is one of the best mid to small defenders going around next to him.
No doubt.
I can't remember the last time I saw him get touched up.
Malcheski to Bird. Not a lot for him, it's obvious. Hence his waiting game that he plays. And here's Buddy charging up the ground to cover a lot of territory to get there, which he's done. Port starting to push numbers back, so Buddy uncertain as well. He wants a marking target. He really doesn't have one yet. So it's over to Adam Goods. He manoeuvred his way to the front. But here's Ebert. Back into the maze of players, though. Mitchell. Broadbent. That's a get me out of there sort of kick as well. Back to the middle. Oh, the crunch is on. Schiltz tackled. Well done by Richards. They have to go again. They're happy to. Pittard takes it, trying to storm through the middle. It's hard going in the slippery middle of the SCG. Lloyd works it through Jack to Cunningham. It's deep. It's Goods. It's Franklin. Buddy and Adam, they're the nice two standing, and Franklin can enjoy this. Strolls into goal. Port Adelaide bodies were everywhere, but not with the footy. There was that man, Buddy Franklin. His first goal comes at a really opportune time for the Sydney Swans, who were just being forced onto the back foot by Port Adelaide. There's plenty to go in this contest. Jack, another of their prime movers, deep to Franklin. He was about to duck out the back, but there was somebody there who beat him to the punch, and that was Westhoff.
There's a skill in holding Franklin out of that 2-on-1. To not give away a free kick. Carlisle's done a fantastic job all day. You feel like one's coming, but he's done a great job. Not a great kick on the way out, though, for Port. And Reece Shaw able to stretch out, and now he can stretch some more on the run and kick it deep. And Franklin's got the read on this one.
Well, that was really strange from Justin Westhoff, because if he runs and jumps at the footy, no one's going to get anywhere near the height that he marks it at. He was in front, he had a run and jump, and he stood back and looked and felt for the contact of Franklin. Now, Buddy Franklin is not going to jump over top of you and take that screamer. He's got a strong body and he'll attack the ball hard, but he's not going to climb over the top of someone like Westhoff. Needed to just focus on the footy and attack it.
Well, it took 2.5 quarters for Buddy Franklin to kick one, but such is this man's immense talent and skill that in a heartbeat he can have 2 on the board. And look at that, the Swans. Two goals, 4 for the day for Buddy Franklin.
Interesting, Kingy, because Westhoff was positioned behind the footy and the runner just came out and waved him. Now, get forward, mate. Get forward.
Need a score now. They need a score before 3/4 time.
Lobie goes to Young. Fresh sub on the ground. Kasisi to half forward. Lloyd had an opportunity. Jetta breaks through. Malcheski through the traffic. Back to Jetta. Just handballed wildly, and it shows. Trengove as they try and dig in now, Port. Hold on to the footy, perhaps, just for a minute. Try and get it back onto their terms. Broadbent, and it's out.
The thing with Port Adelaide is you know they're going to come at some stage. They're going to have their turn with momentum. We've seen them have powerful finishes over the last 10 or 11 weeks. 21 points. Is it a big enough lead? That is what will be going through John Longmire's mind. They've lost their substitute, one of their guns, in Hamish Hartlett. It's going to take a special effort away from home, but the time's now.
Bird, it's high for Franklin, and that's a great gutsy mark taken by Jackson Trengove. Just for a moment, I thought he was going to play on.
Oh, wow. He got away with it. Half shanked it, but it'll work.
Into the middle for White. He had to fight hard just to get back on his feet, and he still hasn't managed that. He's still clambering after the ball.
Well, we've seen a few players slip today. A lot of heavy rain last night, and again this morning. The ground is soft, particularly in the middle of the ground. Yes. They did have the covers on the ground, but we've seen a number of players slipping.
3 minutes 12 remaining in this third term. Bird coveted the footy. Got it up, but it's not going any further. Margin is a game high 21 points now. Stuart Dew, John Longmire and the coaching team of the Swans still very pensive about the situation. They know how dangerous Port can be.
We know they've got incredible belief in their ability to run in the fourth term, Kingy, but what margin do you think becomes too tough for Port to manage?
I think they can score 6 or 7 goals against the Sydney Swans if everything went their way in a quarter.
That's a really poor kick.
So the game's still alive.
That's 50.
Yeah.
Well, the Kane Mitchell kick was poor.
Yeah.
And then the decision to push, I think it was Jack Homsch, brings Kieran Jack into goal-kicking territory. And he kicks this. Well, it's a ridiculous turnaround. You've got clean possession. You're trying to create something. Port Adelaide free kick against Goods.
Jack Hodge, your free kick.
That's against Adam Goods, I think.
Jack, your free.
Kieran Jack doing his best to hold things up so his teammates could get back in position.
I think he makes a good point. Why is it here where I'm holding the ball, not where the mark is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's where closer advantage for the team whose free kick it is to whether it's the
would be where the mark is.
further down.
Yeah, where the mark is, though, not where Jack's holding the ball.
Yes, he'd already gained some ground for Sydney.
Yeah.
Kasisi back into the middle. Element of danger in the kick. Aaron Young takes it. Across to Pittard.
Too high.
Hanbury will contest. He had some good reserves, though, for Port. Trengove, a moment of worry. And then a handball. Carlisle to Pittard on his wrong side. Had to try and track back. They knew where he was going. He's able to get a handball anyway. Boak feeding it back for Jonas. Some more uncertainty. Kicks it high. Schiltz will come with a big lunge. And now Wingard. We haven't seen too much of him. And again, we don't see too much of him because there's only Swans jumpers around him.
He's been well held, hasn't he? Chad Wingard, 10 possessions, no score.
This is what happens when you're a good side, Jace. The competition studies you. They'll watch you. Pittard wanted his left foot there. The Swans knew that was coming. You've got to be better than that at this level now.
Boak.
They always have a sweeper out the back, the Swans.
They don't leave their goal square unmanned. Port Adelaide do, and there's times where it costs you. And the Sydney Swans save an opportunity there. They save a potential goal there.
Through Sam Reid. Careful kick. Conservative route for Shaw.
Oh, he could have given it to Malcheski too. He was running up the middle with space.
He was keen for it too, wasn't he, Malcheski?
He wanted it.
He pretended he got it anyway and ran and had a kick. McVeigh at half-back with the Swans leading by 21 points. Countdown on now to three-quarter time. Just over a minute to go. What's Port got in reserve? A leap here from Jonas. He's earned himself plenty of the footy today. His 16th disposal is his worst. Back into the middle. Now they hold it up initially. The clearing kick from Lloyd is for Jetta. And he can't get the job done. There's some bodies left.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Wines is one of the players down. I think Pittard's the other one.
And he looks in a fair bit of pain.
Well, that's nearly a throw.
Gray has to take it on himself. He's carried a big load today, Robbie Gray. One more give over to Wingard. This will give them something to go into the last quarter with. What will it be? Goal or behind? It's goal.
He's been everything for them, Robbie Gray.
Robbie Gray, hasn't he been brilliant?
He's been fantastic. He's their class player. As you can see, who's that?
Jasper Pittard's had the stuffing knocked out of him. Have a look at the competition for this high ball. It's already happened in the background, but Robbie Gray just continued to make things happen. He got it to Wingard, and that's a pretty cool finish for a player that hasn't had much of an impact. Did well, Chad Wingard.
Big goal, isn't it? Well, it's stating the obvious, but 15 points a lot more manageable than over 20.
Rampy's done a great job, but you can see the toll's taken on a few of the players. There was a big fly out there. They came from all angles. Pittard, one of those that got poleaxed. Ollie Wines got poleaxed as well, but the build on him did more damage to the others than him. Too far.
Wow. Big call.
He's an accurate call, though. Spot on there, the umpire. You can tell by the moan strips.
The moan strips.
Yeah. That's how close the margin is at the moment with these two teams, isn't it? I mean, regardless of the result today, Port Adelaide say we can mix it with the best away from home. And I think that's probably all they came to answer. The win would be great, but let's just go up there and compete and see where we sit.
Well, the match itself still very much up for grabs. That last goal from Chad Wingard could be telling. We know all about Port and their fast finishing. Let's see how the Swans handle it. They have a 15-point lead, the Swans. They're taking on the top of the ladder, Port Adelaide. Can they inflict Power's second defeat of the year? The margin is actually 15 points at three-quarter time. Old and this last quarter underway now from the SCG. Derek's down to Kennedy. You can see his effort. Ebert helped it. Gray been outstanding for them all day. Young put the head down. Ebert also been consistent through the first three quarters. Schiltz. Mitchell's had his moments both ways, and it's out of bounds.
Well, they got the first clearance. That's one thing. They've got to try and play as much of the game as they can in their forward half of the ground, because if they concede too many goals, it makes the margin almost impossible to overcome.
So the ball whipped back in. Again, it falls shorter than the ruckman anticipated. Wines to Young. to Mitchell. Does anyone want to take it on? He screws it back to the square. Boak, the spoil from Shaw. Oh, that's a big tackle laid on Rampy. The umpire said he obviously didn't have prior opportunity.
Good pressure. Get it in there with that quick kick. Have a look at this tackle here. He tried to sidestep him. That could very well be a strong argument for a Port Adelaide free kick.
Ball perhaps came out, slipped out. Here's Gray. Got it to boot.
Strong argument, Jace. Does that mean it is a free kick?
Well, I thought it was a free kick because it was the tackle that actually made the ball come out, and he was trying to evade him, so that's his prior opportunity.
Just
didn't dispose of it correctly.
I just wanted to hear you say it. That was all.
Glad you hear us, our interpreter, David. Swans come away. Malcheski off the right boot.
That doesn't happen often.
A rarity. Young sends it over the line and out of bounds. I think he'll go back to his left next time. Not that it was that bad.
It was actually a good kick.
Yeah,
it was a very good kick. But see, with a 15-point break, I reckon they can concede a couple of goals, Port Adelaide. If Sydney are good enough to kick 3 goals in this last term, I reckon it becomes too tough for Port.
You can see the big crowd watching on. Throw in. White comes as the third. Wingard down to Mitchell. He tried to work it off the outside of the boot. Never looked likely at all.
Well, you can see what they're trying to do. Hit the ball into space. Play a little bit of free flowing.
Oh, Wingard got there when it mattered. Mitchell. And now the rest is history, and here they come. Wingard kicks the goal, the critical one. So he's kicked one before the three-quarter time break and one just after. Oh, he just really was in the right spot at the right time that time, Chad Wingard. It's back to 8. Derrickson Lobe. Young. And they're going again. Boak has it knocked away by Shaw. Heard the call. Trengove had to adapt. Second tackle got him from Jack. But he kept it moving with Young. Broadbent. Back to Young. Trying his darndest to get it going, and he's been able to do that. Westhoff back to Broadbent. Angles the kick to the 50. Yeah, bypassed Lyons and Jetta and sliding in Ted Richards.
Not happy Travis Boak. He wanted the short ball.
Kicks it long all the way back to the goal square because he knew what the next step was. It was the run from Cunningham on the outer side. But Port have got most of their numbers on that side right now. So this won't be easy for Cunningham. Hard, powerful running by Hanbury. Had to wait for the ball to bounce. Nothing obvious for him. Again, not a great handball, really. And Port fighting fire with fire, going hard with bodies at the footy. Gee, they look tired already.
I just think that this running game of Port Adelaide is challenging Sydney right now. Every time I see a stoppage, the last to leave is Sydney.
Kingy, we talk about their running game. We think it's about offense. It's about their defense as well. The way they pushed out, got on the outside of their opponent, made Cunningham actually stop and had to go back onto the ball.
Shaw gave it on the advance now from back into the middle. McVeigh feeding it back for Shaw again. So it's a considered approach here by the Swans. They didn't want to get it in there too quickly because they don't have enough to go for. Franklin picks out McVeigh, who almost marked it. Kennedy came through as the backup. He's claimed. Did enough to not give away the free. It's getting the dangerous territory, though, for the Swans. If Port can pick it up, they'll be on their bikes and be away. Likewise, though, the Swans through Franklin.
Good kick.
Sends it deep. Enough to make any defender very nervous. A worrisome
Good
time.
spoil.
A spoil got it away. White, the collect wasn't clean, but it was good enough. And Carlisle lent a hand, and now they're away through Jonas.
Super kick.
Oh,
and they're out. They're out. He's got to wheel and go.
He gets told in no uncertain terms that Broadbent's on the run.
Got Schultz long, and he can bomb it.
They've got the mathematical advantage deep, and the kick is designed for Schultz. He couldn't get the run at it, though.
Needed to be a 75-metre kick.
The umpire's been cleaned up in the back plane there.
He has too.
He's gone down.
So we've got the sub, Jason.
Yep, Gary Rowan's come on. Brandon Jack is the one that has been subbed out. And you can just see the umpire a little worse for wear, but gutsy effort, up and running, back into the game.
Gary Rowan's been playing in defence. in the Swans seconds team, so we'll see where he's deployed today. Kick goes back to the wing Homps. Oh, Trengove. Stunning stuff from Buddy Franklin. He wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, he's been tackled the last 3 times he's taken possession. I think he better start expecting it.
He did well to get a boot to that, actually.
I'm not sure how many times you need to be tackled before you can expect it, but good to see some pressure there from Lance Franklin. Not a strong point in his game.
Yeah, and he's starting forward, Gary Rowan.
Boak was clean bowled. Here's Cassisi. Couldn't quite stand up when it mattered, but out of bounds, not the worst result. Early stages of the final term. Port kicking the vital first one to get them back within arm's reach.
You kind of feel they've basically had control of the game, Sydney, but Port are in a position to actually win this.
And that position getting better as they head forward through Young. Melcheski forced to defend. Wingard ever dangerous.
I tell you what, if they kick the next one, Port, Sydney will have a real problem on their hands, because there will be an undeniable belief in the Port players that they'll claim another victim in the 4th quarter.
Lobie fends it away for Gray. And Gray's claimed. Got boot to ball. And Paul wasn't going to pay the mark anyway. Richards had an age on the ground. In the end, he had to tread very carefully or he would have been pinged.
That was the result he was after. He was after a stoppage. He didn't want to give that free ball turnover opportunity close to goal. This is what Sydney are trying to do. Deny them any turnover ball.
Gray again hard at it. McVeigh, as Kingy said, didn't want to release it out of there. Question's going to be asked here.
You don't want to get pinged. The one thing you don't want to do is give away set shots from free kicks.
That was a tight call.
Yeah, but the opportunities here, if Sydney can come out by hand, they can go the length of the ground. Port is setting up behind the ball.
Yeah, they've got 3 spares in defence, Port, though.
Numbers everywhere. Lobie slapped it down. Corns looking for who else but Robbie Gray. Oh, he's done everything today, but he misses.
That was brilliant.
That was. Created an opportunity out of nothing and then nearly threaded the needle.
The only thing he hasn't done is kick a goal, Robbie Gray. He's contributed to so many, though.
Rowan on the charge.
Rampy puts it in his direction. Broadbent with the counter in the air. Outstanding, and it's out of bounds.
That's what Moons is talking about. That's the defensive run, to just get back and be able to get a fist to that ball. Most teams don't have that capability on a half-back flank or a back pocket like Broadbent's been today.
7 points the difference now. Wide up over the top. Parker has given away the free. Young's footy.
Thank you.
Westhoff 30 metres down the line called for it, but
Kingy, I don't reckon Sydney want to get too defensive either. They've still got to score to win this game. They can't just hold on to a lead.
I don't think they're holding on to anything. I think they're just being beaten at contested footy at the moment. It's 17-5 in favour of Port. They're just winning the hard ball. Sydney can't get their hands on the ball.
Gives it plenty. Look at Monfries coming with a rush. Terrific mark from Angus Monfries. What a versatile forward he is.
This has got really interesting, this game.
Well, this is what we expected. This is what we wanted. They have taken the Sydney Swans game off them. They are actually tougher than at the moment. As we said this term, they are putting it to them, and the Sydney Swans don't have the answers.
Hasn't had the continuity in his footy this year with the injury issues. But today he's played a defensive role. He's kicked 2 goals. This for his 3rd. His most crucial kick of the afternoon. And he nails it coolly and calmly. It's a 1-point ball game.
Leading by 1 point there, and then bang, get going to win by 70. They're a quality outfit.
Yeah, this is game on, and it's going to be interesting to see what Sydney have got left in their legs.
Marks inside 50.
Look how they've opened it. They've spread their wings. They've spread the flanks, trying to open up the ground. Again, Port Adelaide.
Yeah, they're swarming all over them. That could have been a free to Wines. Not paid. A fumble from Shaw to Parker. Big Derricks heaves it up to half forward. Goods. Crowd around him. Trengove going to be tackled again, but this time he released the handball to Pittard. He learned his lesson. Pittard didn't. That's holding the ball. That's Buddy Franklin getting his knees dirty, laying the big tackle.
2 in a row from Buddy. He's hunting them down. He's using his speed defensively. We love to see him run and carry when there's a possession available or a shot at goal available, but he's done it both ways today.
He just fumbled and stumbled, Pittard. He had Carlisle out to his right if he had have looked and they were away.
Trengove caused the panic, didn't he? He caused the panic. He's just taking too long to make a decision.
Some deep breaths. Buddy Franklin.
They need it, the Swans, big time.
Takes centre stage at the SCG. Here he is, the number 23. That's why they pay him the big bucks. And the bucks are big, and so is that goal. Well, he's come to the fore in this second half. 3 goals, 4 now for Buddy Franklin. And the way he won that footy and then the way he executed the kick, just outstanding. Back to 7 points. Derrick's, the crowd getting really involved, Moons, for the first time of the day, really. They're chanting. We'll get back to you in a moment. Here's Shaw to Hanbury. Stripped of it. Got the handball again. Here's Jack.
Well done.
Twisting, trying to twirl his way out of there. Port, relentless with their effort. Boak to full forward. Wingard, it might go all the way. It didn't. Smith, terrific contest. Not done with yet. Oh, Wingard again. He helped it out. And off the ground, Westhoff. Now, it's a goal. It's the little things that matter in match. This is not a little thing. This is a big thing. Daniel Hanbury, this looks serious. That little tap back from Wingard was just pure gold. And Port will not go away. Once again, it's 1 point the difference. This is living up to all expectations. The game of the year so far. First versus third. It's very much on the line. Port just coming with one player after another. Westhoff, the pressure being handed over to Lobie. Up into the 50 now. And the head down the bottom up from Laidlaw. Gets it to the ground and gets it over the line and out of bounds. Not deliberately.
Well, guys, you just see Dan Hanbury there looking at his right ankle. You just see it completely go under him. That's a horrible vision, that one right there. So you got him on the bench at the moment. So they're down a guy, down a rotation at the moment. We know Hartlett's gone off as well. So it's... So you can keep it up here, guys. But look, we know this is going to be an absolute advantage for Port now with that extra one off the bench.
Tough break for Rampy. Eventually controls it. Gary Rowan. Here's your moment, Gary. Couldn't keep his feet. Regrets it. He gets up. Well done. Plucky stuff. Couldn't get through, though. He's going to lay a tackle on Jonas. Impey the next to feel it. We're all feeling it here in this last quarter. It's terrific stuff. And away comes Hobbs. He just didn't quite clear the area, though. And Lloyd screws it back. The crowd were getting on their feet. Now they can sit down.
Rowan's a danger. He's a danger at full forward. He's got tremendous speed. Jarman Impey did a great job to go with him, but he just dragged him there. He got away with it.
That's a free kick.
Yeah.
No doubt that's a free kick.
We love when they don't pay him. Let them go. Let the game go. The players will sort it out, Chase. They did earlier on in the game.
Hobbs, driving ball for Westhoff. The spoil was really urgent and with great earnest, but it didn't get a job done, and Westhoff has wide away.
They'll take him on.
Wines is going to power through the 50, or he might go longer to Gray. No, he does choose Wines. So young Ollie Wines, in his second season, hits up Mitchell, and you know what?
50.
Port have got a shot here to take the lead.
Wow, very close.
It's just relentless, the way they swarm forward when they see a half an opportunity. Now it looks like Jack might have rolled an ankle. Kane Mitchell, he's had a tough day, but he has a chance here to send Port on their way.
Hanbury's up and walking about at the moment, Jason. They've just put one solid little piece of tape around his ankle, which I'm really not sure what that's going to do for him, to be honest. But he's up around walking. He's just starting to jog now, which doesn't look too flash.
So all eyes on Kane Mitchell. He goes in and he can't hit the board the way he would have liked. Been a big occasion for him today, Kane Mitchell. Just in game number 18.
It has been a tough day, but you know what's great? He kept putting himself in position to have an impact on the game. He's got to continue to do that.
Sure. Oh, that's a wobbly footy. Mitchell just had to turn around.
Got away with it.
It was his. Now they're charging the other way.
Look out.
And it's Franklin again.
Open goal square.
He might try for a 70-metre goal. And he really would be worth all the money they're paying him. Give him a longer contract. What a kick.
You can't do that.
That's 70 metres on the fly,
It's a bomb. It's a bomb. No other word for it.
He loves the SCG. You can kick him from anywhere.
Boys, Dan, quick one. Dan Hanbury's gone under just with the doctors to get checked on.
Here's Reid. Comes charging through. Off the ground, Young. Even accidentally. It's all about territory now. It's determination. It's the surge. Gray held up at his tracks. It's Swans footy and it's Port Adelaide footy these days. It's relentless stuff. Kennedy takes it. A quick look. McVeigh tried one on, then decided he better just kick it, but he had nothing to go to.
Yeah, and he throws his hands up. He didn't have the legs.
Jetta comes late with the spoil.
Overcommitted.
Opened it up for Pittard, who's prepared to run, prepared to take them on. Guides the kick into the 50. Careful with Schiltz. Careful with Smith. Now it's Shaw, one of the veterans. Whipped it over to Cunningham, and he can go. Has a look at Broadbent. Treats him with disdain. Kicks it to Jetta. Jetta can turn it on the other way. Franklin's leading. McVeigh's the long option. He goes for McVeigh, and McVeigh will jump and almost take it. Well done, Trengo. Play on! That wasn't the call he was after. He's able to get it with the escape valve and find his man even.
Oh, that's a dangerous kick.
A wandering ball. It's Kennedy. It's still Kennedy, but he's missed
Everything.
and hits the behind post.
What about the pressure in this game? You make a mistake, you allow a play on, you allow anything. You allow a free run for Port Adelaide and they're going to cash in. They are looming large here with their run on counter-attack. It's versus the Sydney Swans tackle pressure at the moment.
So he'd be kicking himself, Josh Kennedy. I watched him in the warm-up. He kicked about 4 or 5 of those from that exact spot.
Gee, I worry about the decision-making at times from Jackson Trengo. I reckon that he's got to make his decisions a little quicker. He doesn't give himself time to dispose of the footy kicking. he induces the pressure.
He's the most tackled player in the competition at the moment.
There's a reason.
Crowd of 41,317. I think that's the 6th time we've got over 40,000 at this ground. And at the moment, it is a thrilling contest. And there's still plenty of nerves jangling as Port go forward, but not with any system.
But they're looking for that short kick, Hutto, and the Swans aren't allowing it. They need to maybe just flick a few handballs through and get themselves into space first because it's on.
Oh, look out here.
McVeigh out to Lloyd. Franklin's one out deep again. He's hotter than hot, Buddy, and he's not been able to mark it. It's not over yet, though. He tries one on Carlo. Gets some good assistance. Buddy's still going. Buddy's still going. He's unstoppable.
Poor old Alipati Carlisle. I think he's played a really good game, and he's going to end up having a handful kicked on him, including some spectacular goals in the last term that probably win the game for Sydney. Well, has this contest risen in the 4th term?
Extraordinary. 5 goals, 4 for Buddy Franklin. And out of the middle, it's Robbie Gray. And Gray again, using Lobie, and Gray again. He can't offer anymore. His 28th disposal. Ebert back the other way, though. Shaw of hand, as it turned out, for McVeigh. And now Malcheski. Clean to Cunningham. He sees off Hobbs. Where's Buddy? All eyes turn to the goal square. Will he kick it deep?
Rowan.
No, he goes short to Rowan, who fumbled. Tough one to handle. Homps straight into a Cunningham. Latch. And Rowan. Now Jonas to Westhoff. They've got a second win, the Swans. They're coming hard. Grundy deep to Franklin. Adam Goods, just a bystander like the rest of us in this quarter.
Well, that's a good result for Sydney. Dan Hanbury back on after he really looked to have rolled that ankle in serious fashion.
13 points the margin. Goods comes flying through, looking for a free. Umpire not buying. Lobie did enough. Boak, they're being forced into that back pocket. Corns chipped it out wide. Smith, Rampy. Monfries almost got one in the back.
Just want to have a look at that last centre bounce, Chase, what Port Adelaide did. Look at them draw the wingman right out. And the ball's about to be bounced. They take the wingman wide. They're trying to make the ground bigger. They're trying to accentuate. You can see on the left there, Mitchell heading towards the boundary. On the right-hand side, Corns dragging out wide, trying to get that pure centre break to score. They realise at 13 points down, they need scores and they need them quickly. Great coaching.
Malcheski Wingard to half forward. Bouncing any which way. Richards takes it to the line.
I like it as a strategy, Kingy. If you think you've got better spread in the centre square, all you're doing is you're saying, well, if you guys can halve the clearance, we'll back you to get on the outside and actually run, and we don't want anyone else interfering with it.
And they pulled their forwards back to the goal square. There was literally 80 metres of space if they win that centre clearance.
Robbie Gray again for Lobie. Bit by Port. They've got it into the 50. Reece Shaw left it behind this time. Monfries, desperate stuff from young Lloyd, and they're out again. Rowan has to counter 2. Ooh. Nothing there. Trengo's footy. Carlisle now. It's a probing ball. Westhoff. Grundy removed him from the contest. Gets ticked off by the umpire.
Well, they just need to find a way just to settle the game down against Sydney. They don't want to play this at breakneck speed. Drop back into that measured approach. They may concede a goal. Doesn't really matter. They need to find a way to kill 2 or 3 minutes off the clock.
Leave it on. Play on.
4 minutes 40 on that clock. The kick goes down the line. Derek's well behind Logan.
He's nearly all Australian, this guy.
He'll be certainly in the mix if he keeps going the way he is. Oh, Westhoff takes a chest mark.
They just don't know how to go away, Port Adelaide. There's still plenty of time left, and he's hurrying back to save precious seconds, but 4.5 minutes and it's only 13 points. He needs to concentrate on the kick and not rush it.
It's a game where many opportunities have been wasted. Goals are precious in this late stage. And unfortunately for Port Adelaide, that's a huge miss. 12 points the difference now. Just 2 straight goals in it.
Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be, Jace? If it's going to be Port Adelaide, who's going to be the player that needs to spike? Westhoff looms large at the moment. What do you think?
Oh, look, it's hard to tip Port Adelaide because I think Sydney have had the answers all day. The worry for them, though, is every time Sydney go forward, they look likely to score as well.
Very proppy out there. Hammerbury. Holmes brings it to Cassisi.
Oh, they're on in the middle of the ground.
They are. Can they use those resources? Young decides to handball. Back to Cassisi. Now they bring Carlisle in on the act. Well, he takes it wide to Mitchell. It's a long way home. He sets it up to the square. Now's your hero moment. We wait, we watch. Big tackle, Wingard. Latched on. Monfries. Little opportunity. Ball gets dragged back into the mire. Is there any way out? It's just good, hard, solid stuff. Body on the line.
Oh, there's a foot in there.
There was. Hanbury winds. Tries to bullock his way through. Monfries. They hand it off. The tackles are crucial. Everything's critical. Mitchell had some trouble times today, and he almost came up with what could have been a golden goal. It's a behind, though, and it opens the door.
They needed the 3 scores either way. 2 goals and a point.
Melcheski.
Got to hit a target.
Pressure on.
Find someone free to buy some time.
Oh.
No, he's missed it.
On the bounce to Reed. And then Smith.
Missed it.
A wobbly one to the wing. And takes it out of bounds.
They're feeling the heat too, Sydney.
Well, it's the toughest kick in football at the moment. Exiting your back 50 is the toughest kick in the game. And
2 minutes 55. Sorry, Kingy.
They've loaded the back line. They've got 3 loose men at the moment, the Sydney Swans. They can feel the heat.
Jack. And he's 150th towards the line. What a wonderful rehearsal for finals football this is.
Which means the important thing for Port Adelaide is if they win the stoppage, win the clearance, they've got to run and carry.
Go lateral.
The bomb forward doesn't help you. Too many numbers.
It's back into play again. Derricks and Lobie. All day they've been going at each other. Hammer and tong. Could have been high on Corns. Not paid. Is there an exit here for Port? Corns trying his hardest, but it's out of bounds and precious seconds tick away.
Well, Sydney will love this. They'll take stoppage after stoppage.
You need to gamble here. You need to gamble if you're Port Adelaide. Smash the ball back in the corridor. Speculative handballs. Just don't bomb the ball forward.
Sam Reed's the loose in defence for Sydney.
Slapped away from Derricks. And it goes to Corn. So here's the opportunity to half forward Monfries. There's a crowd around him.
Arms free.
Almost got the jump, but not quite. Jack comes back relentlessly the other way to the wing. And they contest once more. And there's nothing doing there. Port hoping to get a hold in the ball call. They don't. We're down to 2 minutes and 3 seconds.
They train this more than anyone over the last few years of Sydney Swans. Situational training. We're 2 goals up, we're a goal down. Whatever the scoreboard reads, they play accordingly. Very measured, good leadership.
Buddy's one out inside the forward 50. Jetta's putting the moves on, kicking it high. Buddy holds his ground. If Sydney win the ball, they'll be able to kick it down to him. In fact, he's come up to the 50 now on the edge of frame. Corns is there. There's Buddy coming in, and here's Gray. So can Port, with a minute 40, orchestrate something. No mistakes from here. Wines back to the middle. The wrestle's on. Tired bodies. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And Port Adelaide are trying their darndest. They just can't lay the skin on. Now they can. Trengove. If they can get it out, almost threw it out. Wingard, a minute 15 on the clock. Even he can't conjure the required magic. It's close to the line. Shaw takes it down that line, down the area. Mark dropped by Lloyd. McVeigh decided not to handball. Instead, took the 20 metres that were on offer. Rowan, he'll get it to the chalk. And they almost can't go any further, these players.
He's been important, Rowan. He's had a lot of nothing-type players like that, just creating a neutral ball in the area, drawing an opponent. He's given Franklin some space down in this last term.
58 seconds remaining. Every one of them precious now. Robbie Gray, been amazing for Port. And again he goes. His 34th disposal.
Great mark.
Westhoff, deep and dangerous. Oh, Schultz has marked it.
Don't get a chance at this.
33 seconds.
Again, he saves time. He runs back quickly. Now he gets into his routine and he kicks. They'll have 15 seconds or so.
Skips in, puts it through. Sydney a 2-man forward line. Couple across half-back. We're down to the last 17 seconds. First versus third from the SCG. It all comes down to this. Lobe to Ebert. Oh, his kick goes out wide.
Clever kick.
It wasn't bad. Boak turns. 9 seconds. They need a mark. The moment is now. At the back of the pack, it's crept through for a behind.
Massive punch from Sam Reid. A massive punch.
He's been the saviour before Sam
He
Reid.
has, did it against
Fremantle last year.
in a draw, I think that was.
Yeah.
They've done enough, the Swans, barring an absolute catastrophe on the kick-in
Look at the
from
nerves in the
Malcheski.
Sydney boat.
Oh, he kicks to himself. That had danger about it. The siren sounds, and Sydney win. It's as simple as that. Cyclone Buddy hit the SCG in the second half, and he got them over the line with 5 goals. The Swans win by 4, but what a battle. What a battle by Port Adelaide, who did not lose any friends or supporters, but the Swans get the 4 points.
And they won the last quarter again, Port Adelaide. An amazing effort to really push Sydney. Sydney had to pull out all the stops. They needed some experience, some cool heads in the times of real crisis. And you can see the disappointment on the Port Adelaide players. They didn't come here to be competitive. They came here to win. They believe they can win every game. They believe they could get over the top of Sydney. And they are bitterly disappointed. Take nothing away from their effort. Sydney were brilliant. Port Adelaide, they are going places.
Let's get down to the man who turned it on in the second half. Who else, Moons?
I am down here with the man, buddy. 8 wins in a row. You guys are just hitting some really good form at the moment.
Yeah, it's a super win by the boys today. Port on fire too. So both teams have won a few games on the trot. So to come out of it and win like that against a quality opposition in Port Adelaide, it's always good to play on the home deck at the SCG, and to win by a little margin like that's always good.
Mate, it looks like you're really enjoying your time up here in life, and getting to know your teammates more and more every week goes by.
Yeah, definitely. I think it takes a little while to get used to your teammates on what foot they kick with and everything. But I'm enjoying training. I'm enjoying getting out there on the park with the boys each week.
Mate, how good is this? They haven't had over 40,000 since 2001. I reckon they're here to see you, big boy.
42,000, you can't complain. The supporters are great tonight, so thank you.
Mate, well done, buddy. It was a fantastic game. Well done, mate.
Cheers, mate.
5 goals, 4 from Buddy Franklin. It was just delight to watch him in action. And he's the biggest show in town now, that's for sure. The Swans win by 4. What a game of football.